Gotta resize. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to my stream. My name is Technomagus, and today we will be playing Final Fantasy VI Advance for the Game Boy Advance. This is a port and remake slash upgrade of Final Fantasy VI for the Super Nintendo, with a lot of the bugs fixed, retranslation more in line with the later Final Fantasy games, as well as some other little additions like the Dragon's Den bonus dungeon at the end of the game. Um, there's also like an arena mode called the Soul Arena, where it's basically just like a survival rush. So, without further ado, let's get started. And as always, I have the chat open. If you have any questions you want to ask, just go ahead and send them in the chat and I'll respond. Now, as this is an extremely long game, gameplay-wise, both from story and from the leveling aspect of it, there will be off-camera moments in between streams where I will spend time leveling up my characters. It won't be anything too major, just enough to get me through the next area. Because I'm going to try to keep the grinding off-screen as much as possible. Now, obviously, this won't always be a possibility, but yeah. Now, this will not be a 100% run because there's way too many things to do in order to try and get 100%, and I'm definitely not trying to get all of Gal's Rages or fill the Bestiary, because there are some encounters that just take forever to find. Now, one of the disadvantages to playing the Game Boy Advance version as opposed to the Super Nintendo version is there are a whole bunch of tricks and bugs and exploits that make the game incredibly easy that I'm not going to have access to. For example, the Wind God Gao setup, where a certain rage with Gao, when equipped with the Merit Badge, basically allows him to completely annihilate entire enemy armies. Yeah, we're going to have to skip that one. But that's okay. I'd rather have a completely working game than one that's easy to break. And it's not like Final Fantasy VI is that difficult anyway. Most of the endgame equipment is incredibly broken. Now, the goal here is to try and encounter as many scenes and do as many subquests as possible. This won't always... there will be a couple things here and there that I'll miss, either from not having the correct party, or there'll be more options than I actually have available. And I'll try and point them out where I can. But sit back and enjoy the credit roll. Fun fact is, Final Fantasy VI is actually Nobuo Uematsu's personal favorite of the Final Fantasy series, but not Sakaguchi. Sakaguchi's personal favorite was actually Final Fantasy IX for the PS1. Sakaguchi was the creator of the Final Fantasy series. there's actually a number of fights in this area. But this is also like you have to put effort into trying to lose here. Because Magitech armor is incredibly overpowered and kills most enemies in one hit. Now, I'm not trying for perfect stats, though I will be spending time leveling up to try and get characters as powerful as possible. And yes, the opening area essentially equates to spam A. Though if you want, you are free to play around with some of the other effects, like what Terra actually gets special commands while in Magitech armor that the other characters do not have access to. And this is the one encounter where you can't just one-shot kill them with Terra. Because the mammoths can, or the megalodots can actually... Oh, actually, never mind. I guess they can't. Well, in the Super Nintendo version, they can't survive, or they can survive more than one shot of the Bioblaster, but I guess not in this one. Okay. We don't need to know about save points. And in case you're wondering, yes, Biggs and Wedge are named after the characters from Star Wars. They make appearances in Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 8. In 6, they are members of the Empire. In 7, they are members of the Returners. And in 8, they are members of the... what is it? Or they're members of the Galbadian army. In 6 and 7, they die horrible, painful, violent deaths. In 8, they actually survive and basically tell everybody to screw off and go away. Now, this thing is incredibly easy to beat so long as you do not attack it while it's in its shell, otherwise you will get hit with a... Oop. And now he is going into his shell, so you just gotta sit there and wait for a few moments while he sits there, or while he does nothing, and then as soon as he comes back out, you get to pop his head off. Oh, well, I'm about to get nailed. Now granted, I have an incredibly overpowered healing spell at my disposal, but it's kind of annoying. And it's dead now. It is actually possible to beat the crap out of the shell and kill it that way. That's not a very good idea, because it takes forever. The shell has like 30-some thousand hit points, if I remember correctly. And now we meet the Esper. Players of Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo will remember this Esper is named Tritoch. They actually go with the Japanese names of the Espers in Final Fantasy VI Advance, so this one is actually named Valigarmanda. Now, before you actually go after him, one thing of note in Final Fantasy VI is that nearly every grandfather clock you see in the game hides an elixir. So it's a good way to stock up on them to save for later. One also thing is that you kind of have a mini sprint shoe equipped, which allows you to run. If you hold down the B button, you move faster than if you were walking normally. And it's the same speed as if you had the sprint shoes relic equipped. When you get the Sprint Shoes relic, that's your normal walking speed, and then you can hold down the B button to run even faster. So it makes it very useful for moving around. We're going to leave those chests for later. And now we get to see some of Terra's backstory. And Locke is our resident thief. And now we get to play with Moogles. Let's see. We want Mog's equipment for somebody else. But first, we need Mog to learn a dance so that we don't have to deal with this later. See, the thing of it is, Mog's main ability is that he dances to call special attacks based on the terrain. In this area, gives him the, what is it called? Gives him the Twilight Requiem, which is a basically Earth-based dance. Each dance has 4 different attacks, the most powerful of which is the Water Rondo, which is also the hardest to get, but we'll get that one at a later time. So now, we take Lock, and we go running through the rest of the area to the boss. Now, Lock's steal success rate is actually based off his level versus the enemy's level. The higher it's his level plus 50 minus the enemy's is the steal success rate. And then he then has a chance of stealing the it's like a 1 in 8 chance of stealing the rare item, and then 7 in 8 chance of stealing the common. And then if an enemy doesn't have a item in a particular slot, then it's considered a failure. So, like if some enemies have just a rare slot, but no common item, then he will fail every attempt to steal unless it is the rare item. Alright, so now we are just going straight for the boss. But first we're going to heal up a little bit. We can always get more potions later. Alright, and with the guard leader dead, the rest of the monsters go away, and we rescue Terra. Yay! As you can see, Loki promptly ate her and then vomited her back up on the floor. Because that's how parties work, apparently. And you never actually get to use that switch again. Alright, so before we leave Narsh, we want to take a quick pit stop at the Invention School. So that we can get a few useful items. Let's see. Alright, so now let's get out of here. Oh, and in case you're wondering what happens if you try to go back into Narsh. That's it. You can't go back in until much later in the game. So let's go on our way to Figaro. Because they're a little tougher than I thought. There we go. Alright, so we're going to drop save here, and I'm going to I'm going to break off the video real quick, and I'll be back in just a few minutes, alright? See you in a little bit.